Okay, I think we are live now.
Yeah.
Yes, it is streaming on Twitter. All right, guys, thanks for joining this live stream. How is everybody feeling? The product is finally out. We have been building this for quite some time. We're getting great feedback on Product Hunt. So, yeah, we'll keep it light and casual. This whole conversation will talk about what we have learned so far, the engineering, the design, and our favorite features. Why did we build this whole product? And then go from there.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you feeling, Faisal? Like, how do you celebrate these things? Like, if you don't drink.
Most important question.
Like, how do you celebrate these milestones?
By doing things like this, live streams, taking a break from your regular coding and sales stuff. So, yeah. All right. So why don't we start with talking about one of our favorite feature from our new Docs product? Quickly introduce ourselves also, and then we'll do a little demo of the new Hashnode homepage and the new documentation tool. Haimantika, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Or maybe even Sandeep can go. So Sandeep, maybe you can go next first. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, cool. So I'm the Chief Docs Officer, come Chief Technology Officer. So, and I also happen to be the co-founder of Hashnode. And they just told me that my headline is a bit boring, so I've just changed it to Chief Docs Officer. And it's super fun and super excited that we launched Docs product, one of the biggest updates to Hashnode in the last 2 years now. It's not just a new product launch, but we have significantly changed Hashnode in this update. Lots of improvements, lots of changes. If you just log into Hashnode, you will notice an entirely new way of managing your projects. Both blogs and docs can be managed from one single screen now, making it much more intuitive and easier than before. So it's pretty exciting, and we just launched in Product Hunt today, which is super cool, and it's pretty exciting. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Kiran, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I was actually thinking about this update that Sandeep just mentioned for the new homepage, right, where we have all this all our blogs and docs in the same place, making our project management easier, not directly tied to docs necessarily, but I think this update is really cool, makes it much easier to kind of manage your projects, and I think users will really like this once they get used to it. And then just specifically on docs, I really like the client search that we have, so making it super easy to find all of the pages, API reference pages, product pages, whatever you need to find. Search is really nice, and I'm sure Sandeep can talk a little bit more later, maybe about the AI search specifically, which is really cool as well. So yeah, I would say those two things come to mind.
Awesome.
Great. Who is going next? Let's bring one of the folks from the design team. Pritham or Joshua, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. So yeah, I'm the lead product designer here, but yeah, let's call it craft for now. And my favorite feature is the editor. Honestly, it's so intuitive. It's so easy to create such a critical thing like docs. I think as a designer who is always not delving deep into code, like GitHub is not my strong suit, and I would love to see the similar result which any other developer can create. I can do the same thing with a WYSIWYG editor on my own, and that is like super intuitive and really fun to use. So yeah, that is my hands down my favorite feature.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely. And the fact that it is Markdown powered, not only developers, any stakeholders from the team can join, edit, and collaborate. I think we are getting a lot of interesting and good feedback on Product Hunt for that as well.
Joshua,
super cool.
I would like to host you next. Go ahead.
I don't know, so shy. I think we've built a lot of cool features here. It's actually very, very ambitious to want to create something that people would want to sort of build from a very, very technical perspective. But I think just like the beauty of WYSIWYG, the beauty of Hashnode docs is that you can, do the things you want to do and see them in real time instead of having to get very, very technical with what you're trying to do. And I think my most favorite thing now is our current homepage. I'm really, really happy that you can see everything that before having to see all your blogs takes a bit of work or all the projects you own. But now having everything in one place is actually very, very sweet. I think we even prompt people to create more items, maybe for experimentation or other things. But yeah, we've done a lot of work
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Yeah, and I'm proud about where we finally are. It's wild to see dogs in the open and in the wild. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. Earlier, to manage your blog, you had to go to the profile settings under blog settings, and then you had a good overview of all the blog projects you have on Hashnode. But now that's the centerpiece on the Hashnode homepage itself. So you can have a good overview of all the docs you have created for your personal projects, for your company, team, and also all the personal blogs and other projects you own.
Yeah, and just to add here, not just your own personal publications, but all the team publications you are a part of. Even if you are a contributor to a different publication, you can still see them in that list.
Awesome. So to all the viewers who are watching us live right now, if you have any questions about the product, feel free to drop in the comment section. We'll answer them in this call itself. I'm not sure why I'm calling this as call.
It's like
It
an all
feels like
public all hands.
yes, a
I
public,
think,
public all hands.
yeah, I think that's why I forgot to introduce myself earlier, because it just feels like an all hands right.
All right, awesome. I think we have Flo with us.
Sure, I'm here
Yeah,
as well.
you want to go ahead and maybe just introduce yourself and just maybe just talk about some of your favorite features on Docs.
Sure. So I'm Flo. I worked a lot on the docs project. So from the first hour, made the initial data model and everything. So I'm here from the beginning, and I've seen a lot of features grow on the docs projects and on the docs product. And it's quite hard to pick out my favorite one because I think we have a lot of good features here. But I guess right now, because I'm heavily working on it and we're doing some really cool stuff there, it's the GitHub sync feature where you can just source your guides and your project from GitHub. And we allow you to have a mix there, so you can still have things on the editor and guides from the editor, but also source certain content from GitHub. And I think that's pretty cool, because that's the thing I guess every developer can relate to, that it's helpful, right? You still have like maybe some markdown files flying around or anything where you just describe things to your users, maybe a README file, and you can just reuse that and just get going and wheel at the beautiful UI and the whole flow and handle everything, and you can just get started so quickly. And I'm really looking forward when we're going to land that soon, and it's super exciting to build the whole thing from the scratch.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams. So yes, Sandeep, go ahead, please.
No, I was just saying that. Just imagine going from a bunch of markdown files in the repo to a really nice docs website with a nice search, ask AI button, table of contents, everything, just through a single commit. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty wild to me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and
actually.
most of the folks, yeah, I'll just add something here. Most of the people or most of the teams like to have public user contribution,
Yeah.
open source contributions on their GitHub repository. So having GitHub sync is really crucial for those teams. So they can still use Hashnode. The content lives on their GitHub repository. They can open it up, make it public, and when their team, when their users or open source developers contribute to those docs, it goes live after the PR is merged to main.
Yeah. And I think that's a common thing you see, right? There are a lot of tools or libraries or anything out there where a lot of users are using it, but the documentation is just not on the later stage, right? On the later stand. And there are comments on issues on GitHub that, hey, can you change this in the docs, or this is wrongly described, or it's working like that. And I get it that it's a lot of, or it's taking a lot of time from the maintainer or the people working at the company to just update the docs and everything. And with this feature, we can just, or the people can just, yeah, okay, that looks nice. PR, create a PR, we merge it, and then everything is there, and you don't have to think about anything anymore. It's just there on a really good hosted solution where you can just look at it. And as Sandeep mentioned it, the AI search feature is also pretty nice, right? So
Yeah.
you get new people landing on your docs that don't know really how to use it, and they can just chat with your documentation and actually learn something. It's like kind of a, I'm going to be taught by the documentation itself how to use the product kind of a way. And I feel that is going to impact a lot of things.
Yeah, the consumption just becomes a lot easier. Instead of browsing 10 different pages, searching for answers, they can just ask one quick question to Ask AI, and it finds the relevant information, summarizes it, and also cites the information from cites the pages from where it's deriving the information. So it's going to be a game changer. So while we are at Ask AI features, Sandeep, do you want to dive a little bit into the tech stack, how we built it, how is it different from all the other documentation tools out there who are using third-party services to power the AI search? How is it better? How is it better on Hashnode? What have we done differently here?
Yeah, of course. I would say one of the biggest factors here is that our Ask AI feature is completely built in-house from the ground up. We didn't use any third-party tool, and as a result, our Ask AI feature deeply understands Hashnode's system. Right? It understands the markdown content really well, and it's able to parse the content effectively, which wouldn't be possible if we use a different third-party tool. Um, and we do our own retrieval augmented generation. We use things like Pinecone, and we use GPT-4o right now. And on top of that, we do RAG. And the best part is that in most of our internal benchmarks, we have seen that the time to first token is basically 1 to 1.5 seconds. This includes everything. Start with the vector search to the inferencing and first token that lands within 1.5 seconds in most cases, and within 3.5 seconds you have entire response streamed back. So I think this is very, very fast. I mean, I may be biased, but based on what I've seen so far, based on my experiments, this is really fast and gives me the results really, really quickly, along with citations, so that I can verify the answers. So I find that pretty cool. And we also have a lot of things lined up when it comes to AI and AI search. There are lots of improvements are automatically lined up, and soon we are going to show you on your dashboard what questions your users are asking you. I think so. This is also one of the things that our some of our early customers have shared with us, that can they see some of the questions in their dashboard. I think that can unlock a lot of these unique insights on where your users are stuck and where they are facing problems. So these kind of analytics insights can actually help you improve your docs product a lot. So which is why I'm particularly so excited about Ask AI feature.
Right. And we are also automatically updating when the pages are updated, the AI feature also has the latest information.
It's always up to date. Train on your docs has latest info. So always delivers the latest information. So that's pretty cool.
Great.
Just imagine the impact.
We also
Right?
I'm going to 10 open tabs, searching old documentation, searching old blog posts, to just, hey, I'm on this version, how I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And then you get the answer and you can go your way and do awesome stuff.
Exactly. It'll make you 10x faster, basically.
At least.
Great. We have Lakshya here from product team. Lakshya, do you want to go next?
Yep, I can go next. So, hey folks, I'm Lakshay. I've been around Hashnode for I think 3 years now, almost 3 years, and I've been doing product engineering here. So, right off the bat, I think call me biased, but my favorite feature would be the. I mean, I have two features in mind. One is upcoming, and one right now that exists is our editor. Like I would want to think it as a feature. So one thing is that when we made the blocks editor, we fine tuned it as per a new design, and docs naturally feel like an extension of it. I think a user would like that when they switch between editors, there won't be a lot of learning curve there. We are still using a lot of same design experiences, and I think that is good. Like that consistency, I feel is good. In fact, when we were building it, we kind of we used the blogs one as a shell, and then we built on top of it. And
Yeah.
one more thing is MDX, because docs are much more feature rich when it comes content rich when it comes to content, right? So you might need more dynamic interactions and all that stuff. And the pipeline for docs is purely MDX, and which is really nice. It gives a lot of gives a good way for customization for users as well, and I think that's been good. Second favorite is something that Flow and the team is working on. I am excited about GitHub Sync, how that will work, especially how the previews and everything will work there. It's kind of, I think it's a good engineering effort there, and I'm excited about how that will tie in within our editor experience into the future when we move towards more of two-way GitHub Sync and all stuff like that. So I think these two things are my favorite. Yeah.
Awesome. Since we're talking about the GitHub Sync feature, I think from that particular feature, one of the things that I really like is the ability to preview from localhost. I know that Flow is building that, so you can not only commit to GitHub and get your commits deployed, but you can also have a local CLI running on your system that continuously runs, watches your changes, and automatically publishes into a preview URL that you can visualize readily. So helps a lot with the local development. I'm sure Flo might have some thoughts on that, but I think he'll also be excited about that particular feature.
Yeah, absolutely. That was or is so much fun to build that, because it's a thing I think everybody of us is working with CLIs on a daily basis, and they're doing so much good. And it's also just this combination of the product and the CLI and building something new and having the preview. And it's always a good feeling when you build something and know that's going to take, or it's going to help a lot of your users to do stuff. And I think that's just one of these things where you know that previewing your docs locally before deploying will always be a good thing. And if you can just make this easier and have good thoughts there and good ideas and building that into a product again and just providing it to the users is just a cool thing. And yeah, I think it's going to help a lot just by doing that. It's a single command. It will watch your files. It will deploy everything on every change you're doing. It will also help you to have the correct folder structure we are expecting, so that everything is in place. And then you can just preview, say, all right, that's fine. That's looking good. You will know how it will look like on the live documentation. So it's we're copying the styles and everything just to get it close to production as we can locally, and then you can just have your final go and merge everything, and then we're going to deploy it to your final or to your prod documentation project.
Awesome.
Amazing. Great. So we also have Vamsi, who is one of the earliest engineers at Hashnode. he is all like he has been there since the time Sandeep and I started working on the first version of Hashnode. So Vamsi, we have spoken about this a lot of times that Hashnode enables a blogging feature, and there are so many features that can be shared into documentation. So we have spoken about it 2 years back, and then we did, we spoke about how this could be a transitioning into a complete documentation product. But now it's happening. Hashnode now enables companies and developers to create both blogs and docs. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, with this docs release, I'm sure all the community members would also be seeing this change on the default page. Now it is the slash projects page.
Yeah.
This is like one of the biggest things we have done in company's history right now. Now we have like two verticals, that is blogs and docs. And talking about moving from blogs to docs, one of my favorite things is the editor, like Lakshya mentioned. It's just amazing. It just feels very intuitive, very smooth, and WYSIWYG is also like just what you have created there, and you are seeing it in the final page when you publish it. Uh, and yeah, I think Sandeep mentioned in one of his tweets that how we are on a mission to replace some of the links in your resources tab, and this is like a very exciting phase that we are in. We have done blogs. We are of course continuously improving it, but taking up docs, and also there are a lot of companies that have already gone live with us, Outerbase and Minds TV, and it's very exciting to already see their resources tab being replaced by us. And yeah, super
Nice.
excited about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So even some companies are exploring how they can use Hashnode blog for their change log, which is very interesting. So if you look closely, change log is a list of posts, right? And Hashnode has all the tools readily available for companies to replace not just blog and docs under the resources tab, but also case studies, change log, and various other subsections.
Yeah. And I think one interesting case study is Outerbase, who is powering both their. I think Vamsi mentioned it, but I'll just go a little bit deeper. So Outerbase uses Hashnode headless mode to power their blog and installs the blog on their subpath like outerbase.com/blog. And they recently started using our docs product, and they were able to go from 0 to 1 in hours basically. And for now, the hosted offering is probably working for them. But eventually, if they want to go headless, they can also use the same headless philosophy to go headless and put the docs on their subpath like outerbase.com/docs. So in that sense, it has. I mean, one of the things that really excites me is the ability to, go headless and customize it to the fullest extent. Because we also have a starter kit for docs, which is Next.js and Tailwind powered. So you can just fork it, and you can just change any aspect of the docs front end that you like, and just make it truly yours.
Yes. So we're talking about headless. I'll ask this to Pritham, who is the lead designer at Hashnode. Pritham, the headless experience is now extended to the documentation as well. We saw how companies are using headless mode today. One of the biggest examples is FreeCodeCamp/news. That particular publication is now Hashnode powered blog. So how do you see this being adopted inside various companies? Why is branding important for them?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I have a few examples. So there is this other company who also uses Hashnode, is Huli. Huli has an amazing landing page, and I am a great fan of the designer who made that. It's one of the really most popular one of the most popular designs on Twitter currently. So companies like that can definitely adopt Hashnode's headless mode. They are already using our blogs, but that is a great example of the company who can go headless and bring in their landing pages branding, the elements from the landing page, and make it seamless experience throughout all the tabs. So headless mode gives you that ability to retain your branding, go wild with it. They don't have to be constrained to what we provide to them. We definitely provide a base point, a great starting point, but as a team increases, as their branding, as their requirements evolve into a very custom requirement, headless solves all of their requirements in one go. And yeah, I think that is the answer in a nutshell. That headless is
Nice.
the answer to solve all your branding requirements and still retain the features that Hashnode provides. That is the best in the market, and go like wild with it. And like I think the design engineers nowadays would really appreciate that freedom. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Sandeep, recently somebody asked me that Hashnode enables headless mode on both blogs and docs. So can they be used as the landing for the landing page or for some other static pages? So could you just dive deeper into that and help us understand why did we go towards the purpose-built headless CMS and not build a general purpose headless CMS? For example, there are Contentful, Sanity, and others.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of the times people ask, can they build any kind of site using Hashnode headless? So in that sense, we're not a traditional headless CMS. We are what we call a purpose-built headless CMS, because we excel at basically two things. One is creating a blog, and now creating a docs. So which means if you go to Hashnode, use it in a headless mode, and use the editor to create content, it's basically more aligned and more geared towards creating your blog posts and documentation sites. So if you use a traditional headless CMS like Contentful or Sanity or something else, you'll probably have a hard time getting the same benefits of Hashnode. For example, you have to tweak the editor. I don't know if all of these headless CMSs have some sort of an editor built in, but some might have. But even then, these editors are not really suited for blogs, right? You need so many things like defining blogs, OG image, blog social media banners, SEO title, descriptions, accessibility things. A lot of these things have to be done. So Hashnode makes that easier by providing a purpose-built headless CMS for blogging and docs, so that you know that you are covered when it comes to all the basics of blogging, like RSS, sitemap, SEO title, description, and all the similar things. Hashnode covers everything and provides you with a very, very robust and fast GraphQL API that you can consume on any front end, be it your Next.js front end or Astro front end. It can be anything, right? Some of our customers use a starter kit to get started, but some do not use a starter kit. They just code their own. They start from scratch. They just integrate our GraphQL APIs easily. We have first class support for GraphQL, very nice docs, super easy to get started. We are what we call a purpose-built headless CMS, not a generic headless CMS.
And on top of that, there are other collaborative features as well inside the editor, like review comments. There are role-based permissions. So not everyone in your team can directly hit publish and go live. So if your team has editors, there are product managers, and then various different contributors, you can do those role-based configurations inside the Hashnode's dashboard, and set up a proper review process for your team. So this is something that we have been building for the last couple of years, and we have mastered it. And this comes inbuilt inside your documentation tool as well.
I think we don't talk enough about the dashboard, but I think that's one thing that I really love about Hashnode, be it for blogs or for dogs. It's so easy to see analytics or to customize the look of my dogs, the navigation bar, and so many things. Even before I was working at Hashnode, I was a writer at Hashnode. Like I used to write my blogs and everything, and I didn't see any blogging tools that would give me all of these abilities and customizations. And this was years before, when we didn't even have headless and any of it. So what I really appreciate about Hashnode is that you, from day one, I believe that all you wanted is to give full control and customization to the end users, and we could see that on the products, that it is your blog hosted on your domain. Like, we'll give you the features, but it's you who will run it, or it's you who will run the show. So that's something I believe is the philosophy, and I see that on our blogs and our docs as well. And I have been dog feeding on our docs as well as blogs within the company, and I see that from my previous experience of using different products, it's so much easier. Like some nifty details, like having the card section that we have, or I have read a lot of documentation, and I see that they don't have this navigation bar. Like, you start with installation, and the next step will probably be the prerequisites or something like that. So that developer journey is missing in most documentation,
Yeah.
and we provide that inbuilt. So these are some of the nifty features that we don't talk about enough, but I feel that these are the missing pieces that a lot of tools don't have, but it matters very much to developers and for anybody who's also writing the docs.
Yeah, yeah. So
100%. Yeah.
Haimantika, so you have been talking to a lot of DevRels. You have maintained the documentation in various environments, specifically Docuseras, right, which is one of the most popular open source projects out there. How do you see
Mhm.
this as helping different roles inside companies like DevRel, marketing,
Correct.
and others?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems that most documentation tool has, that it's very rigid, which is why I love our headless mode. And also the hosted version has a very good UI. So before I go to your question about how to use it in different roles, I would like to mention this part as well, that be it as developers or as devrel, whenever documentation is the product, and whenever I see a tool that does not have a good looking documentation, or it's not very well structured, I look for alternatives. The 2024 is known as the year of alternatives, so I look for other alternatives, that okay, I'll not use this tool, I'll use a different one. And that is because that so far these companies have been using the tools that we just mentioned, be it Docuseras, README, and then there's so many other such tools which do not provide as much customization. And one important thing that I feel, especially within teams, is our collaboration. Let's say Favorite and I, we both are writing the Hashnode docs right now, and we just text each other and say that, hey, I'm taking this one up and you take this one up, and we both collaborate on the same docs in different guides, and then we are publishing the guides. So there is so much, especially as startups, we need to move fast, and documentation is something which needs to be shipped as fast as code. And when these features are provided inbuilt, and I don't have to go through the engineers or other team members and say them, hey, approve my PR, and then go on to the cycle of, oh, this is not aligned, your bullet point doesn't look right, or all of these things, when you don't have to do that, it's so much easier. Because this way I am moving fast, the team is moving fast, and the developers know, okay, they have shipped this and the documentation for this is there. So this is something
Yeah.
that I really enjoy while using our own product.
Exactly. Even we were using Docuseras, and one fine Sunday, I messaged Sandeep and I said, there is a typo in the documentation. How do I edit the Docuseras instance? How do I run it? And so it literally took us 3 days to fix that spelling error. So at that time, I wished that if our documentation would have been hosted in a similar fashion, like we host the blogs, I would have simply logged into Hashnode, go to that particular guide, fix the spelling, and hit publish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Yeah. That's definitely a big improvement, I would say. That no need to wait, no need to build, no need to get a developer to change something. Even the founder, if they want to edit something, should be able to just log in and edit it.
Yes. So, Sandeep, talking about startups, and there are many companies that get into a YC batch. Now, every quarter there would be one YC batch. So, when they are starting out, I see what is the need for them to choose headless versus hosted version of Hashnode. How would the journey look like? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I think in my personal opinion, developers should should not spend a lot of time initially to go from 0 to when they're going from 0 to 1. They should not invest a lot of time recreating everything. The recommended path for them would be to just start with Hashnode. That way they can power both their blog and docs using Hashnode. They don't have to use two different tools for two different things. Right now, if you go to resources tab of any dev tool company, you'll see that the blog is powered by Hashnode or something else, and docs is powered by Docuseries, README, or Gitbook. So the experience itself is disjointed and fragmented, right? So I would 100% recommend people to start with Hashnode so that they get a unified view. They can power their blog and docs both. Get started on our hosted front end. The hosted front end has all the things: a good UI, AI search, Algolia search, TOC, generous and automatic. All those bells and whistles are already done by Hashnode. And once they outgrow themselves, they can always go headless. They can always bring their own front end, consume our GraphQL APIs, and scale from there. So I would 100% recommend that path.
Yes. So I'll focus on Favorite, who has been Hashnode's customer success engineer. So Favorite, what has been the feedback so far since this biggest change to Hashnode?
Yeah, so people are loving it, I would say. Yeah, and one thing I would also like to add about like the new product is how easy it is and how like non-dev focused it is. So I think that's something that we should also put out there. So I remember a while back while I had to like create a documentation for the previous company where I worked, I did a lot of research, and the only solution I found that was easy was Meatlify. And even Meatlify would you need to like write these JSON files to get your navigation right. Even Doxera also like requires you to like do some like code stuff, right? Meanwhile, I just wanted something easy. I wish had Hashnode had docs then. So one thing I really love about Hashnode docs is the fact that all your customizations can easily be done, right? Even without the headless mode, right? So every like customizing the dashboard is straightforward. The documentation website is straightforward. Then when we had headless, so the customization that takes it to another level. Yeah. So but as for users, I would say everyone is like loving what we're doing, and I would say with time everyone would get used to the new setup and the new UI. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
was terrified when I got your message last night on Discord that there are many people complaining about where is the right button, right? So that was one of the biggest change. So we missed it somehow in the PR review or something. But then Dev, who worked on that right button, restoring the right button, is here. So Dev, what are your thoughts? How did you do it in 1 hour yesterday night?
Yeah, I remember Faisal telling me this, that if get the design reviewed from the designers, but tell them that not to be very nitpicky about it because we need to ship it fast. So just get the icons changed and like nothing else. Yeah. So it was like not that hard doing adding the button, but yeah, I understand that, yeah, when you have a very big vision and there's a product launch coming, you tend to miss out on a few things here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's not a launch if your product is not broken on day 0, right?
yeah, and that shows that how much our community is, just keen about very small things. Like it can break their entire flow if you miss out on one thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I was also surprised that as Fazal, you also told me yesterday that we thought that customer would notice this, but we didn't think that in the first hour only we will get so many complaints about the right button being missing.
Yeah, and that is actually something that we did bring up before we shipped it. so it was kind of a choice to go with this first, and kind of maybe we didn't exactly expect like the feedback that we got instantly. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I would just say the muscle memory of our users is really great.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
These are the small things that users they get used to, and like even you guys being founder and we being developers, even we don't realize that something that we might think that it is not that much useful, users still get used to that, and
Yeah.
being that thing missing can break their flow and how they work.
Of course.
Yeah,
Right.
especially for those that just there to like write, they want to write straightforward, right? So that button is very, very handy. Yes.
Great. So I would like to bring back the focus to Lakshya, who has been very, very strict about SEO since the very beginning on Hashnode. So Lakshya, something that we deeply care about is all the pages being super optimized, and we constantly check the lighthouse score of all the features of all the pages before they go live. Right. So I'm sure we have done the same thing on the doc front end as well. So something that you can add to what users can expect from our docs client.
Yeah, sure. So I think this is like one of the things, because we are building public facing bits like blogs or docs, like anything that we are building for the users or enterprises. We want to make sure that we kind of hit good on SEO, accessibility, performance. These are like the three bits which are important for any web application. And I think when we were building even docs, because we had been doing SEO for blogs for so long, um, just getting some of those good nuances to docs wasn't tricky. So be it the meta tags, be it the schema that we have, the JSON schema. So all of those was particularly easy there. And then again, for when it comes to performance, our front end, the docs client that you see, the hosted versions are all powered by our APIs, right? And our APIs are edge cached. So all of that is accounting for speed there, performance there. And then when it comes to accessibility, I even remember, I think just before the launch, there was we even made some accessibility changes just to make sure that if there is a list element, it should not have a nested div or something like that, because we are running our website through accessibility checks on like occasionally, because we feel that it is important. And similarly, our whole design system or component library, if I'm talking about the implementation, is made around that way, that if a tooltip is useful there, we do that. If the ARIA labels are useful there, we do that. And it goes for everything that the clients are interacting with. So yeah, just trying to build all the things with accessibility, performance, and yeah, SEO built in from day one.
Right. Great. So also, something that most folks have been asking me, that in this AI age, when a lot of knowledge is being consumed from ChatGPT and other copilot inside the code editor itself, how should companies or teams should be writing their documentation in order to get maximum, in order to make sure the LLMs optimize or understand the content better? Uh, Anyone from the team can answer this.
I think I can take this one up. Like especially when it comes to writing docs, and if since we're talking about LLMs and we're talking a bit more in the technical aspects, I feel for technical docs, especially developers, or the mindset is that I would want to see the code than seeing the talk, or it's more like that, show the code rather than talking about it. So one way to actually do that is by having more quick starts or having more API references. This is one thing that I love in our docs, is the API playground that we have, because as developers we would want to in, instead of getting or signing up on a product, we would like to test things first, and only then we would like to build with it. So having those things is really helpful. And also one metrics that we usually count is called the time to hello world. So it's known as, abbreviated as TTHW. And as somebody who is writing the documentation, we should also focus that the first entry or the first hello world program to your documentation should be less than 5 minutes. And these are general tips that I believe that anybody who is writing documentation in a team should follow. And when it's very concise and to the point information, that also helps developers not only find information easily within the docs, but also if they're using an LLM or any other AI tool, it also becomes easier. Like having more code samples, let's say I'm building an integration and we have a code sample with Next.js, I can show that to LLM. I can ask it that, okay, this is how the Next.js code looks like, can you maybe do me a similar integration in some other framework, or a more advanced integration if that is not in the doc. So these are some of the few tips that I believe that if anybody follows would be or would form a very good developer documentation.
I think these are also the basis for like feeding the LMLs to just get better options and better like running code out of it, right? So you have to have the base there, but if it's there, the LLM, or in our case ask AI, or these things can get you out a really good answer, and you're getting started really quick, right?
Yes. Yeah. I was actually talking to Sandeep about this a few days ago. Like, how should we optimize the chunk of content inside documentation editor itself? How do we provide in-time tips to our users that your paragraph should have X number of words, so that when LLMs consume the content, they have the full knowledge about a particular topic. Do not feed multiple topics into one paragraph and things like that. Sandeep, do you want to explain what this is? Have you seen any company doing that?
Yeah, I think for LLMs to, I mean, in general, if you're doing a vector search, so you should probably just arrange your content in a way that it can be it's searchable easily. So which means clear headings with not so big chunks of text. That will be super helpful. So right now we are chunking the content automatically for our AI search based on the best possible strategy that we think is the best. But eventually, I think, like you said, if we can have some sort of a prompt inside the editor that nudges people and guides them into the right path, so that they don't really complicate the docs. They don't have too too big a chunk of text. That will be really helpful in the sense that AI chatbots and vector search can be performed in a much easier way. So yeah, so right now we are doing it ourselves automatically, but eventually in the long run, that's probably the way to go.
That's actually a very cool thing to think about, like a sort of a AI supervisor which like keeps a
Yeah,
tab on your content and just lets you know that
exactly.
how you can optimize it for various things, like be it SEO or be it
SEO as well, yeah.
LLM.
100%. Yeah, for LLMs, SEO, you could have a maybe some sort of a AI reviewer which sits on your docs as you write it and shows you some scores, several parameters, and highlights what could be improved. Maybe that will be helpful.
Right. Um, so one important area which we haven't covered yet is the API references. There is no a documentation isn't a developer documentation without API reference. So right now, if you create a new guide inside Hashnode Docs, building an API reference rich playground is just one click action. So all you have to do is click on new guide, select API reference, insert the URL of your Open API spec, and then we generate a rich API playground automatically for you. So you don't have to use the outdated UI of the open source Swagger front end and other open source tools out there. Building a rich API reference playground is extremely difficult. So anybody in the team, if you can explain how did we go about that? How did we build it internally in the last few months? I know it has been a very difficult journey supporting API reference. So any engineer in the team can talk about it a little bit.
I think I can take it because Hers actually worked on the API references part, but since he's not here, I'll probably just pretend to be Hers and speak. Okay, so all right, so we actually used Swagger UI ourselves, which is probably the most predominant way people build their API references right now. But we were not happy with certain aspects. So what we did is that we, instead of reinventing the wheel and starting afresh, we took Swagger UI and we heavily customized that and fixed a lot of things and changed the themes a lot to match that with Hashnode's UI and look and feel. I think lots of people complain that sometimes they don't like the look and feel and the UI of Swagger UI. But when we aligned the colors and the theme and look and feel and everything, it suddenly started looking great. And with Hashnode's customization and the theming support and everything just works, right? You get the same things like the playground, the code generation, and everything works. We're also going one step ahead, and we're also adding support for custom code snippets. So if you just use Swagger, you get default some default options where the code is automatically converted on demand. But we realized many companies want to showcase their SDK codes instead of just showing Node.js. Sometimes companies will want to showcase their SDK based code. So we're also bringing that support. So in a sense, we are enhancing it quite a bit by building on top of it, but then we're adding a lot of stuff. We have our own fork, and it's completely being built in house. So there will be a lot of long term support as well. And we also have one-click importer. If you go to Hashnode's dashboard, if you have OpenAPI spec, you can import it in one click. Yeah, so it just takes seconds. And you can have unlimited number of API references. You can have unlimited number of guides. So all of that basically has been taken care of by Hashnode.
Amazing. So I would just like to add something here. We made an interesting announcement a few days ago. If your team is open source, you can use Hashnode docs for free, the startup plan as well. So go to hashnode.com/docs, scroll to the pricing table at the bottom, click on free open source license and fill out the form. We would love to power your open source documentation. And if your team or if your documentation is huge, our team will dedicatedly work with you on Slack to help you migrate those content. We have our in-house migration tools for DocuSerras, README, and various other products out there. So we will help you move those content in days. So we would love to see some open source projects adopting Hashnode documentation tool.
And maybe one additional cool thing we're doing for the API references is that if you have taken a look at any other product doing API references, you may feel that the first load or the subsequent loads are very, very slow and sluggish. And we also encountered that problem at first. But we found a really good solution to just keep the stuff in sync, but serving it from our own CDN, from our own APIs, and that speeds up with our caching layers and everything, because we're a content platform, because we have experience there, the whole experience for the users and the speed of the page by a lot. And I think also this is a point we have to highlight a bit, because I'm a developer, right? If I'm going to a page, I expect it to be fast. So I'm not very keen on waiting for 10 seconds to take a look at some API documentation, because then I may think, okay, are these broken? Is this even used at all? I'm at an old version. Let's search again. But having that fast surf here, I think that's also a huge impact for the users, but also for LLMs and for indexing and for everything. So I think that's also a pretty cool thing we added here.
Awesome. Yeah, that's I think one of the most important bits. I think we spent a lot of time perfecting that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So next week is going to be busy for the team. We are shipping a lot of features. GitHub Sync will be available. Versioning is something which we will start beta testing. We are also coming up with 5 new themes next week. So for all the teams who are using Hashnode's hosted UI, you would be able to change the colors from slate to neutral to there are 3 other shades. So we would be releasing that. Anything that I missed, Sandeep and the team, that you want to highlight in this?
Yeah, I think in terms of the next set of items, the number one thing that is getting shipped coming week is custom pages. So you can actually build non-guides. If you don't want to create a guide, or if you just want a static page using MDX, you can actually just create unlimited number of pages in our startup and enterprise plans. So that is going to be there, and we're also shipping GitHub Sync in early preview coming week. So some of our paid customers are getting access to that on priority, and we're just testing it out on products in the coming week. And like you said, we're also experimenting with versioning. While it will take a little bit of time to get versions out, but we'll probably be ready with an early preview sometime, maybe in a couple of weeks. Yeah, and lots of improvements will be there. Like I said, in our AI search dashboard, we'll have unique insights on what questions people are asking for. We'll also have an index page with all the guides and search bar. So all of those cool stuff will be there. I'm personally excited. I'm sure everyone on the team there extremely excited, and it's a great time to be working on Hashnode.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to the versions a little bit. I find this super interesting because this is going to be also a very cool feature. And the cool thing here is, and I want to highlight this just really quick, is that we thought about versions from the beginning, right? So they're already there in the product. We already thought about them. We have them on our mind, where we focus on the outer features more, and now we can enhance on the core. And this is versions and other stuff there. So I'm really looking forward to the next coming weeks. And as you said, it's a super exciting time to be working on at Hashnode. And we're going to ship a lot of cool features in the next coming weeks.
Awesome. All right, folks. So if you have stayed with us for so long, and if you have used Hashnode, you like what we are doing, we are live on Product Hunt. It's your time to come support the team and support the community. Join our Discord, share your feedback. We have all the engineers always available on Discord to answer your questions. So be it a small team or a larger enterprise, if you want to give it a shot, all you have to do is just request. We will set up a demo instance for you and also help you test the product internally.
Cool.
Yeah, before going off, like when everyone was discussing what's their favorite feature, I had something in mind that I wanted to say it's the billing one, because billing module, because that makes us the money. But yeah, before that, my internet broke. But yeah, I can't keep things in my head, so I will say it now.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. That's the biggest motivator.
I think that's all our favorite
Exactly.
feature.
Yeah.
We see Discord notification of someone paying the bill. Everyone is like assembled there, liking the.
So
Yeah,
all
and
of you.
it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when someone from the team says, like, "Oh, this was me testing."
So folks, everyone who is watching this, you know how to make Dev and others happy, right? So
Yes.
feel free to
Yeah.
Get
get
your
on,
team. Get
get
your
your
team
team.
to Hashnode.
Yeah, get your team to Hashnode and be on one of our paid plans.
Yeah, and like a motivation for community members to be entrepreneurs, like build a startup, get your teams like very big enterprise level, then come to Hashnode and help us make money.
Good. Nice plug.
Sandeep, before
Awesome.
we close,
Yes.
do we want to show a demo? We have heard so much about docs. Do we
Yeah.
want to show how the product looks like?
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
definitely. That's very important.
Yeah, I'll just quickly showcase. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So this is the new home screen of Hashnode, and the community has moved here, and all the community activities they happen over here. But if you want to create a new docs, you just click on this button, and you can just name it anything. My test project, and I'll just call it. I don't mean to pollute the production, but still, I'll just call it Sandeep test. So, and this is and what will happen? What happens next is the most satisfying thing you'll see. So
Yay.
I like this confetti animation,
You
and we
contributed.
yeah, we have this on the blogs, but we didn't have it on the docs initially. But I just realized that, and we factored that in. And this is personally one of the things that I like the most: the confetti animation that you see after creating a blog or doc.
Is that why you've got like 20 different docs on the screen?
Yeah, I just can't stop myself. So here you have two options. Either you can go to the dashboard or you can go to the guide editor. And if you go to the guide editor, from here you can actually you start with a blank slate, but you can start your create your first page and get started with that. And you can manage your page sections and everything from the left sidebar over here. You have three different options. Either you can add a page, or you can add a section, or you can add an external link. And I can just show you a quick demo as well here. This is one of the production sites on Hashnode. So this entire sidebar that you see, this is actually created from here. And all the content that you see, including table of content and everything, they are built using this Visibig editor. And I can also show you a quick tour of the dashboard. So this is our docs dashboard, and it has a bunch of tabs right now. And as you can see, we have three things upcoming: the custom pages, the GitHub sync, and versioning. All of these features are upcoming. And you have things like AI search, custom domain, and member management, and so on. If you're interested in some analytics, you can just click on analytics, and your stats will start showing up here. And you also have a bunch of integrations using which you can connect to your Google Analytics or FB Pixel, and more stuff will definitely come in the upcoming days.
Yeah.
And
Sandeep, I think
yeah.
what this might be the right time to showcase how an API reference looks like. So if you can just show the process of creating an API reference.
Yeah, sure. You can just go to the guides, and I'll just maybe just copy Swagger Pet Store. So we'll go to Swagger Pet Store, our favorite spec, and we'll try to just import it. So this is the JSON file. So I'll copy it.
We have
And
a lot of these locally created when we were developing.
so we'll just click on new. Okay, so I don't know why it's not letting me create a new API reference. Ideally, I should be able to create one API reference. Probably
You can actually show request list,
You
list documentation.
I'll just go to a different one. Go to something doesn't start a plan. So I'll go to guides, and I will click a new API reference here. I'll just these are optional, so if you want to input something, you can, or you can just leave it, and it will automatically populate those. So as you can see, it is published now, and you can click here to visualize it. And here you can see all the other guides, by the way, that are in the published state and unpublished state. So I'll go back here. So this is basically the pet store API, and these are the sidebar items. And this is what Flo was talking about, making the subsequent navigations extremely fast. This is what we worked on, and these are the automated code. And I was talking about the SDK stuff, the custom code blocks. We're soon going to enhance it by letting admins configure their own SDK code snippets that will appear here in place of the default code snippets that are generated. And this is a live playground as well. You can just run the code and you can see the response over here. So it's an error. So we saw an error, but in case of a real response, you can actually enter some of the parameters over here, and it can generate the actual response. So yeah, and this is the billing tab, and this is what motivates us the most. But yeah, cool. Jokes apart, I hope this was helpful.
Sandeep, can you also just maybe throw the Ask AI on Requestly docs? For the
Yeah, sure. So this is the Requestly guide, and I can just this is one of the things that we built in house that we were talking about earlier. So these example questions can be configured from the dashboard, but if you just click on any of these things, we'll actually generate a response and stream it really fast, right? And we can have ask custom questions like what is map remote. I think they have a feature called map remote, so you can see how fast it is and how fast it responds back, and it cites the responses, cites the sources as well, so they can directly come to the source and I can verify if what the AI outputs is actually true or not.
Yeah, and if a page has a code sample, it would cite the code example as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have regular search. We can just search for stuff like this, and it's powered by Algolia, so it's instant and it just works. It's beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it will take a lot of time to probably show all of these things. There are a lot of things that I like, but yeah, I hope this quick demo has been useful.
And we have also
So very
busted the
soon-
myth that every time you demo something breaks. It went perfectly well.
Yeah.
So very soon you'll see a lot of 101 tutorials by Harmantika and the team. So we'll be talking about each and every feature on our YouTube channel and also on Hashnode's official blog. So yeah, super excited with this new journey. And once again, a friendly reminder: support us on our launch on Product Hunt. And yeah, that's that. If you like what we have built, and if you want your team to start using Hashnode, and if you have any questions, feel free to ping us on Discord.
With that, I think we can close this one, and we hope you
Yes.
use the product.
Yeah, we're super
Awesome.
excited.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.